My entire psychedelic journey was literally inspired by Terence McKenna. Like listening to Terence and Dennis McKenna talk about their journeys, their experience at La Chorrera. I remember in 2014, I heard the podcast that Dennis McKenna hopped on Joe Rogan. Um, he did the podcast in 2012, but I didn't know about any of these people, right? Until 2014 when I was doing a bunch of research, like researching, originally it was like researching the pineal gland because my friend Mike T told me he was going through his own like spiritual journey, became a vegan, was eating some like spinach chips and like, I was like, bro, you on that weird shit. He was telling me about the pineal gland. And then literally in Google and YouTube, I would type in like, what is the pineal gland? What is the third eye? And then I came across a video that said like what is DMT, and it was by Terence McKenna. That changed everything because after that I went on a whole fucking journey to like research and learn and listen to Terence's journey. I would sit here for 5 hours, not here, but like I would sit in front of my computer for 5 hours straight with a bunch of fucking weed, a bunch of fucking wax. My homie Twiz was with me, and we would just sit down and listen to Terence talk about just what he talked about. It was the first time I've ever heard a human being talk like that. I wasn't really. My dad was in and out of my life, so I didn't really have the father figure in the household. So I didn't have like a male role model really until. So I was 13. I got sent away for armed robbery when I was 14. Because when I was 13, my best friend was 20. And he was like, I guess you could say a bad influence, but not really. Like, I also started my first rap group with him. Um, like I just didn't have a father figure, so like I was just anyone who was older than me. Like I tended to gravitate towards them and like look up to them. As soon as I seen Terence McKenna, I immediately realized this is the man that I want to look up to. Like that is a man. Like I know our whole fucking society is so ass backwards with like what it means to be an alpha male or what it means to be a man. But I remember thinking to myself, I'd rather be like that than like what the world wants me to be. Growing up mixed, I didn't know whether to act black or to act white, right? I didn't know how to act, how to talk, how to think, because like I'm brown skinned, but I know in my head I wasn't actually what I was talking like. I just ended up talking like that, like the whole yo, my nigga, blah 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 blah. But listening to Terrence speak, it just showed me that as a man, I don't have to speak like that. Like I can I can talk differently. Listening to Terrence talk though was interesting because the first like year I had to fucking Google so many words after like I literally had to pause the video just to Google what does blah 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 mean, whatever the fuck, and I'd figure it out and I'd be like, okay, that makes sense, and then click. I remember my friend Twiz, like he didn't even have to like Google the words. He has such a big lexicon, such a big vocab, right? That his vocabulary was already those words were already in his lexicon. Those things were already in his mind. So this man was like he just got Terrence. So that's why it was dope to just sit down and like listen to Terrence with him for like the first year, bro. Like the first year of me listening before I ever did psychedelics, I was listening to Terence McKenna for a whole year. But then I finally, came across DMT and went on my own journey, right? And Terrence's journey was mainly with the mushroom. It's not that I think I seen a video that said by the time he died, he only did DMT like 70 times or something like that. DMT was my thing. Like mushrooms was his thing. He kind of coined the whole 5 grams in silent darkness, like the whole idea of like being able to communicate with the mushroom and like sing objects into creation, with like speaking without syntax. All those ideas came from Terence. I just decided to try those ideas, just to find out they actually work, just to find out that shit is real. Like in DMT space, right? DMT takes you to a place that I call DMT space, but that same place mushrooms take you to and ayahuasca takes you to, right? All the tryptamine molecules take you to a place that I call the tryptamine world. But the tryptamine world is so real, right? Because Terence, like literally listening to Terence talk about this shit, I remember thinking to myself, that man's either batshit crazy or he's opened the door to the next reality, right? Like I knew how impactful that shit was gonna be for my life because I was like, I'll never look at like life the same, right? At that point, I felt like my life had meaning and purpose. Before then, I feel like my life was meaningful in a sense. Like I was like, I want to be a famous rapper, yada yada yada. But I wasn't working towards anything worth anything. You know what I mean? Like I was working towards being a famous rapper just to be a famous rapper, right? There was no reason. There was no true reason. I want that money. I want whatever. But like, you know, and I loved making music, right? But my moral compass was all fucked up. Listening to Terence speak though, it pushed me in a certain direction because I stopped making music because I had to figure out who I was and I had to figure out why was I getting this feeling. Why did I get the feeling that I had to go down that journey? When I first seen the word DMT, when I first heard Terence speak, I felt the need to listen to him speak and I was like, bro, this man like we all I'm pretty sure all of us like deep psychonauts that got into this from Terence all look at Terence the same way. Like the fucking psychedelic Jesus of the psychedelic community. But like it's not, and the beautiful thing about this though is he's not special. There's nothing special about him. There's nothing special about Dennis McKenna. There's nothing special about the shamans in South America. There's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about you. But there is something special about the human species. Like there's nothing special about individual people because we all have the possibility to do the same thing. It's just why would you want to do the same thing? Figure out your journey because this is what happened to me when I looked at Terence, right? I was like, you know, mushrooms was his thing. I felt the calling towards DMT. It wasn't just that I felt the calling for the psychedelic journey. I felt the calling to then find DMT, smoke DMT, understand DMT, like get to know it and have it get to know me. I wanted to gain a relationship with it. As funny as that sounds, people don't get it that like you're gaining a relationship with these things. These things are getting to know you and you have a choice to let those things for you to get to know those things, right? But you have to be able to listen to it, pay attention to it, silence the mind, hear it out, like communicate with it. There's this whole thing in there, a whole entire world inside of those molecules, right? They're just giving you access to this place. And that was the craziest thing with Terence is he opened up this thing that like is now open for the whole entire planet. The whole planet. Like what he did inspired the fuck out of me, which then I started my whole psychedelic journey. What I do also inspired people to start their own psychedelic journey. And what those people do is going to inspire other people to start their own psychedelic journey. And so forth and so on. We are all just literally, this is just a giant ripple effect from Terence McKenna's ripple. This is just a giant ripple effect from literally the mushrooms saying, okay, enough is enough, Earth. Like, it's time to get shit together. Ayahuasca saying, enough is enough, I'm taking the planet back. Like, these things are slowly taking back the control that was theirs, right? This is their planet. We're just walking on it. We used to have a relationship with the planet. We are so disconnected that we don't understand that gaining a relationship with the psychedelics is you gaining a relationship with Mother Earth. There's something so big going on that we can't see, so we're just kind of living our normal life, walking through life. We work our jobs, we put our suits on, we you know, whatever the fuck you do with your life, and you just go through life. You live, you die, and most people don't even think anything of this shit, right? But the truth is that Terence just played his piece to the puzzle, right? I got this feeling that I needed to play mine. So I went on the journey, found myself, I put the work in, right? And I put the work in because I've been on this journey the whole time. I was the when I was with the mother of my daughter, right? When I was with her, I started the journey, right? Started it by doing research. In 2012, I was doing research on conspiracy theories and Alex Jones and the whole thing, right? Aliens and dimensions. I was just doing research about the government and just research. Then 2014, um, or was that 2013? I smoked salvia for the first time, scared the fuck out of me. But then it opened up a door of me doing more research. And then eventually, like I said, went to the pineal gland, then Terence McKenna, then the whole thing. And then it started a journey. My life became a journey that I just started documenting, right? The journey was that I just uh, literally was working on music my entire life. From 11 until I found Terence McKenna, right? I was just trying to be a famous rapper. That's all I wanted to do was be a famous rapper. Once I seen that I don't know who the fuck I am, I don't know what I am, I don't know what's going on, what is the universe, what is death, what do we die, what happens when we die? Terence McKenna says that it's, that mushrooms take you to the land of the dead and yada yada, like all that shit was rolling through my head, and I'm like, yo, I gotta figure this out. And this became my life's journey that I had to figure that out. And it's not that I had to figure it out for y'all, because it's just awesome that I'm documenting what I'm going through and then what I'm learning and what I'm thinking, and I'm just documenting it. But like, it's not for the documentation. It's for me, because I'm gonna die one day and I wanna be okay with that. Like, this was gonna be my life no matter which way I looked at it, right? It was my life, my responsibility. My mind, my responsibility. So, like, I put the work in to find out, well, instead of just trusting that my mom, because she's a Christian, instead of just trusting that, why don't I just research every single religion on the planet, including shamanism, and figure out what I want to believe? Why not go down a journey of, like, figuring out what I want to do with my life? Maybe I don't want to work a job. Maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe, so it's a journey to try to figure out if I could do something else, right? Everything is a journey. This whole thing is a giant psychedelic journey. The sober human experience is a psychedelic journey, because we think it has to go one way, but it doesn't, right? You don't have Life is not set in stone. It is a very fluid thing happening here. So, like, I guess I just kind of noticed that Terence chose to do something with his life, right? That most people don't choose. So, looking at Terence, I was like, I could choose to do the same. Right? It's a choice. Like, there is no. It's not like Terence one day was like, oh, I'm special. This is what I'm gonna. Like, no. He was just being. That's just what he did with his life. That's what he was doing. He wasn't even thinking about it. It was just what was. Just like, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just being what is, right? This is just what is for me. That's why I got back into making music, because, like, that's just what was for me. I am a musician, but I had to go down the psychedelic journey first to find myself, to figure out the universe, reality, dimensions, death, figure out what I am, what my power is as a soul, right? And, like, I found out that manifestation, the thoughts create reality thing, it's all a part of this giant thing that I fucking learned. Like, this giant, that we are soul, not a body. We're a soul inside of a body, but the whole thing is soul. That's why a soul is able to affect a soul. The soul is able to affect the reality, because the reality is just a creation of the soul. So, like, it's a giant fucking fractal puzzle fucking thing. But, like, Terrence played his part. I played my part. Y'all play your part, and we will literally change the planet. Like, this is not a joke. I hate the fact that people, there's a lot of spiritual people out here who are some fake spiritual people, because they don't really want to save the world. They want to look like they want to save the world. They don't actually want to be a peaceful guy. They want to look like a peaceful guy. Like, we all need to just play our piece and then help each other. We all need to, if you see that somebody needs help, try to bring them up, right? You see that somebody's doing something, pay attention. You don't have to do what they're doing, but pay attention to the fact that they are probably just playing their part, right? Everyone's playing their part. Or if everyone was playing their part, the planet would fix itself like that. But it goes back to, you need to fix yourself. You want to help the planet, you want to save the planet, save yourself. You want to fix the planet, fix yourself. Like, fix your mental health, fix your mental capability, fix your mental strength, fix your physical strength. I see so many people in their 40s and 50s talking about, oh, I'm old and like whatever. I'm like, bro, get the fuck up and go to the gym then if your back hurts. Get up and stretch. Stop sitting down. Go for a jog. Start putting that fucking work in. Put the work in to become the person you were meant to be, because it's not going to happen for you, right? The thing that I noticed is, if I didn't look at my life like a journey, I'd be in the same spot that I was when I started this shit 8 years ago. Like, I would be the same person. And if I was the same person, that would mean that I didn't grow. I've changed because I've grown a lot. And because I've grown a lot in 8 years since I started this journey 8 years ago, like, I'm just a more wiser, stronger, better human being than I was when I started this. But it's not, I'm not in a competition with anybody, because I don't see anybody. All I see is my future self that I'm trying to go towards. And that's it. So, like, when I seen Terence McKenna doing his thing, I was like, it switched my internal compass, because I was like, I had no idea who I was, what I was, but I knew when I seen Terence McKenna that that's more of the man I am than these fucking meatheads on the internet. Then, because at the time I was watching a bunch of like meathead type dudes that were like, yo, you gotta whatever, and but then Terence McKenna came into my life, and I seen that I don't want to be like, at that time I was some wannabe thug. I didn't want to be that anymore. When I seen that Terence McKenna was real, I mean, he's dead, but like, when I seen that he was a real human being that thought like that spoke like that, I realized I can choose to be something similar. Because at the time, I was choosing to be similar to a thug, right? Some wannabe thug. That's what I was similar to. If you put me next to a bunch of thugs, you would have been like, oh, he's the fourth thug. Right? If there was 3 thugs and I was the 4th one there, you'd say he's the 4th thug. Especially because the way I talked back then, the way my body language was, the way I thought. Because I was brown skinned and whatever, it was just, being mixed will fuck you up, bro. Because you don't know how to be, how to act, how to talk, how to think. But then when I seen Terence, I realized that's more of who I am. I wasn't me yet. But seeing Terence McKenna, I seen that man is closer to the real me than I am. And that's some weird shit. So, I fixed that shit. So, like, now I'm me. I've had people say I'm like the Black Terence McKenna. Like, so many times I've had people tell me, like, I'm like the Black Terence McKenna. And as much as I'm, like, fucking amazed with that sentence, right? And admire that sentence, I don't ever want to be the Black Terence McKenna. I am the first Mark Dreams. And the only Mark Dreams, right? There was only one me. There was only one Terence McKenna, right? Like, because I do things differently than Terence. I think about different things. My journey was with DMT. His was mainly with the mushrooms. Not that I haven't done mushrooms, and not that he hasn't done DMT, but, like, everyone just plays their piece. And, like, you know, me and Terence's piece might have been a similar piece to the puzzle, right? Literally, without his journey, I wouldn't have a journey. So, like, it's this weird thing that, like, I'm just a ripple from Terence McKenna, and somebody will be a ripple from me, and let's keep this ripple going, because it's not about the person. It's not about Mark Dreams. It's not about Terence McKenna. It's not about Ram Dass. It's not about whatever. It's about how close of a relationship do you have with the psychedelics? How close of a relationship do you have with these things? Do you know how to communicate with them? Do you know how to sing objects into creation in the light dimension? Do you know how to maneuver in that world, in that space? Have you figured out your techniques that you need so you can travel into that dimension and talk to entities and meet the dead, and like all this shit that I figured out, that Terence figured out, and so many of us others have figured out, have you figured that out? Because if you haven't figured that out yet, then what you doing? You got to put that work in, right? And it's that thing. You got to put that work in. Meaning, take the psychedelic, go on the journey. But if you have childhood trauma or issues that you went through, the psychedelic will make you face those issues, because you have to become your greatest version. And to become your greatest version, you have to literally remove all the bullshit that happened to you. And I know a lot of it wasn't your fault. You were a child, your parents fucked up, they should have raised you better, they should have been there more, they should have loved you more. Like, I get it. But because they didn't, you have to fix that. It's still your responsibility to fix that shit. And once you fix that shit, then your psychedelic journey becomes a fucking exploration thing, right? As soon as I fixed my mental health, as soon as I fixed the mental issues that I was dealing with, every psychedelic trip after that point became a fucking magical journey, right? Going down the rabbit hole. It literally feels like I can maneuver in that world. I figured out different techniques to call out different entities in the sense, or like if I wanted the female entity, I have ways to communicate with her or whatever. And practicing meditation, being able to silence the mind, right? Because I practiced meditation years during this journey, right, as well, next to the psychedelic journey. So like I would practice meditation while I was sober, so I could slowly learn how to control my mind, slowly learn how to silence the thoughts in my head, so then when the DMT experience hits hard, I'm not just in my head like, oh fuck, shit, oh my god. No, my mind is completely silent, which then allows it to fully get in there and take me to the next dimension, right? And then it becomes a interactive, communicated thing, because you eventually learn how to silence the mind and then speak it to the entities. So then you're speaking in your head to the entities, and then when they're speaking back to you, you are quiet in your mind, but they're not necessarily speaking in English. They're like projecting these knowings into you or some sort. I don't know. It's just, that was my whole fucking journey, right? Trying to figure out what was going on and how to do that and how to understand what they were trying to show me. But like, that was just what I was meant to do. And this is just what I did with my psychedelic journey and what I did with my life. And this is why I'm writing a book about all this shit. And like, I got all this stuff I'm doing with this stuff because, right, this was just my life and I chose to live it this way. And, because it's been a fucking exciting life. And I just wanted to take this video and take this time to thank Terence McKenna. And, I know he's dead, but like, I guess I'll thank Dennis McKenna too, because like, Dennis McKenna's still alive, still doing his fucking thing on the floor, fighting for the, like, he's still being a psychedelic soldier, and it's fucking beautiful to see. So, like, people like Dennis McKenna are so valuable on this planet. Like, literally, one of the top 20 people on the fucking planet right now is Dennis McKenna. So, like, we need to cherish that man, because, like, Terence is gone, but, Dennis is playing his piece to the puzzle still. It's that thing that Terence played his piece to the puzzle, so he dipped out. He's like, I'm out, guys. Dennis was like, fine, I guess I'll fucking finish his piece of the puzzle type shit. And like, he's kind of finishing Terence's piece of the puzzle as well as finishing his own piece. And if we all just finished our piece to the puzzle, we will see the planet evolve. Like, we will see us become the human beings we were meant to be. It's a slow process, but it is a process that's happening. So figure out who you are, what you're supposed to do, and just do it, right? Maybe your journey is with ibogaine. Like, I don't know. Like, that's the beautiful thing about this shit. Maybe your journey is with Amanita muscaria. Maybe your journey is with ketamine. Maybe your journey is with mushrooms. Maybe your journey is with ayahuasca. Like, maybe your journey was just to go to the shamans and vlog some shit. Like, who knows? But just figure out what your journey is. You will feel it. It will feel right. Because when I listened to Terence, when I went down this journey and everything I'm doing now, it all feels right. It feels like this is what I was meant to do. So that's why I'm doing it.